Mini Wargaming Dan here from miniwargaming.com, here to bring you more Tactica. This time heavy support Deffdread. Ooh. This is Paul's model. I need to get me one of these. I already have 3 heavy support Deffdreads that I custom built. Well, anyways, Deffdreads are one of those things, they're kind of hard to use in the Orc Codex, to be honest. First of all, because they take up a precious heavy support choice. And Orcs, it just seems like everything in the heavy support choice is so juicy and so awesome that even though something is good, it has to be great to make the final cut in your army list. But here's some ideas of why you might want to take the Deffdread, because he is pretty snazzy. Now, he's like a dreadnought, so same, regular armor, 12s and 10. Okay, so he comes with, different from all the other dreadnoughts that exist in the Warhammer world, he starts with 2 close combat weapons already. So, wait, he's just wonderfully magnetized. Okay, so he starts off like this, 2 close combat weapons. And then you must take 2 more weapons. And so you get a long list of everything that you can take. And so then you're like, what can I take to upgrade them? Now you can take lots, you can take custom mega blasters, rockets, big shootas, everything, but you gotta remember, it's still an orc ballistic skill. And so, although they're pretty expensive, they can get expensive. Because honestly, Deffdread for orcs, they're pretty cheap. You can just kind of throw them on. It's not that much for a heavy support choice, but then you have to upgrade them. So it's like different points costs, honestly. For the most part, I'd probably leave off the guns. Leave off the guns because you can add more close combat weapons, that's right. So he already starts with 3 attacks. That's 3 attacks. Then you add on another close combat weapon. And then, oh, it's over here. Then you add on another close combat weapon. Aha! And now he's a beast. And now you're getting 6 attacks on a charge, and they're all close combat, dreadnought close combat weapons. And so they can just rip through anything. The only issue is that they can easily get shot up. Armor value of 12 is kind of average, and there's a lot of stuff that can blow it up from a long distance. So you gotta ask yourself, do you treat your Deffdread as more of a distraction, like you throw them up as fast as possible, you move, run, and then if you can assault, you're right. So you can use that, and then you have to kill it because it's there. And so but at the same time, if they're shooting things that have high enough strength to kill your Deffdread, then you're not killing your trucks or your loot wagons or your battle wagons. But then again, loot wagons, battle wagons take up heavy support unless you're taking with them as a dedicated transport. Only battle wagons can do that, or your trucks. So it's one way to use them. And if they are ignored, then they do a lot of damage. They do. The only problem is that they're initiative 2. So a good thing is they hit before power fists, but power fists are usually in squads, so you can kill squads and the power fists will rip you to shreds, or other dreadnoughts they have a higher initiative. Like a Deffdread going into a dreadnought will always hit first, always. But if by some miracle that you live, or you don't get disabled too much, then you can rip them to shreds, because even like the stunned, you -1 attack to them, but still you're able to do a lot of damage. What I find more useful for a dreadnought, or Deffdread, sorry, is play them more defensively. This means that you're going to be holding him back, trying to hide him behind terrain if you can, and he's going to kind of protect your objectives. Now, he's more useful when you have more of a shooting army, or you're playing an objective game, like you're playing it like defense on Planet Strike, that kind of game where the enemy is going to be coming to you. Because normally I fly towards the enemy. I just go over there and smash his face in, and then he dies, and then I yell, not today. But, so Deffdreads usually don't fit that kind of list. And then when you're bringing like a kill-a-can wall, the kill-a-cans take up heavy support too, so you want to bring kill-a-cans instead of the Deffdread. So, Deffdread, but as defensively, he can be used very effectively as well, because if he is only in close combat, a lot of things can't even hurt them. A lot of squads, they just don't have the capability to. And those that do usually are smaller squads, and you can just rip them to shreds because you're always hitting front armor, and so they are really good once they get stuck in. The only problem is getting them stuck in, and so that's why you have to use them more defensively and wait for them to come to you, so then you can pop out and attack. But I mean, yeah, 12 inch. I mean, you can still move 6, and you don't have to worry about being immobilized by running over difficult terrain. You just roll 2d6 like the rest. But he never gets to run. He doesn't get fleet, which is very unfortunate. Which is why sometimes, like if he has different, oh, he does. Sometimes I change it up, and instead of taking 2 extra close combat weapons, you either take 1 or 2 flamers, scorches. They're like heavy flamers. Come on. Okay, so now what this does is that sometimes you'll find yourself in the position where there's your flamers on the side of them, in the middle there. So you'll find yourself at the point where you have this big Deffdread, he's gonna do lots of damage, and like a squad of like 30 boys runs into him. And you're like, cut! And you're stuck there for the rest of the game. You just get stuck, you can't do anything. Or like a bunch of little guardsmen, well I guess, but more like, say, a bunch of termagants. A bunch of termagants run in, you're like, I killed 3. There's 20 more, or 10 more, you know, and if they're fearless, whatever, you're just like, you're killing them, but you're not really, you can't kill the important stuff that Dreadnought close combat weapons are meant for, like ripping open vehicles and, you know, slaughtering Terminators, that kind of thing. So it's really annoying because a Dreadnought can like run in, like there's a joke in the Orc army in the Apocalypse, there's a squad of 100 boys called the Green Tide. You can take 100 boys in 1 unit, or 100 plus. You can take as many as you want. It's a minimum of 100 though. And you get like move through cover, you can do all this up and stuff, but you're only allowed to bring 1 knob and a war boss leading it. So you can have 2 power claws, but that's it. You're like deep strike a Deffdread and like charge the unit from the back. All of a sudden they're like, the whole unit's like, and then the Dreadnought's like, ha ha ha, and it just ties them up. So that can be good or bad. If you want to tie a troop's choice up, you just put them in there. No one can attack you. No one can shoot at you rather, and you can just slowly, and you can keep them away from an objective, or they're not capturing it because they're in combat. So that's good, but could also be bad. So to help you out is these heavy flamers. Now you can't deep strike them, unfortunately. Sad, I know. However, heavy flamer is something kind of unexpected that you can help out with. Now, if you're running into those big squads, you can never run. You don't have fleet, like I said, so you can't, like you move your 6, then you charge another 6. However, if you're within 6, if you're within charge range of something, if that's the threat, this is assuming you don't get charged, but you're allowed to charge, which you should be able to do if you position properly and make some, you know, lines with your troops. That's when you move up 6, if you're within 6, template's 8 inches long. So it's at least 2 inches of the wide part. And you can find that sweet spot when you hit like 4 or 5 guys, maybe less, maybe only 1 or 2. But then you can shoot it twice. And all of a sudden that's like a bunch more dead. Gotta be careful, because then if you kill too many, then you can't charge. However, I find it useful most of the time, especially when you're out of charge range and you can still just flame and take out a bunch. Or they're like, okay, I know a Dreadnought can go 12 inches. And so people that are more experienced at playing the game just move up, but they keep away 12 inches because they don't want to get charged by the Deffdread. So like, okay, I'm safe, and you move up, and you got that few extra inches, you just kind of tap them with some fire, like some heavy flamers. Hey, that's a bunch more wounds. That's a lot more effective than shooting a couple rockets or a couple of big shooters or whatever, if you're that close. So I don't know, I like flamers. They can be very useful. If you really, really want to, you can just throw on tons of, you know, rockets and, because you can get 2, but more useful for that is the kilocans, which we'll get to. But anyways, all in all, Deffdread, fun choice. They look awesome. I mean, look at this guy. He's just like ready. And the best thing is that, you know, everyone has their own fluff for the dreadnoughts, but, you know, possession, all that stuff. But an orc gets wired in. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna go find mine. So this is from a conversion from Assault on Black Reach Dreadnought. He's a little wobbly, as you can tell. I need to fix him. His base is coming off. Anyways, front comes off. Almost looks better with the front off. Focus. There. So he's wired in there. And he cannot get out. But he chose to be there. Or maybe not. Maybe the war boss just threw him in. But that is a Deffdread. Deffdread is orc. It's like wired in, like cut off its limbs, stick it in. He's like, and then he's in there for life. And because he's like a fun guy, he can just survive because he's an orc. And they run up and kill stuff and fun times. And then, you know, and those just aspiring orcs hanging out with the mechs, you know, they blow up an enemy dreadnought and they're like, yes, I want in. It's my turn. And then they fight and they, like, you know, throw teeth and bets to see who's gonna win. And then, you know, eventually one orc wins and then he gets wired in. He's like so happy. He's just like, he like falls unconscious because he's so happy. And then he wakes up and he's in this big metal machine of goodness. And then he runs and just rips things to shreds. Unless he's blown up, and then the orc that lost gets to jump in instead when it's repaired. Anyways, happy wargaming. Enjoy your Deffdreads.